Hey folks, Jonathan here, getting ready to get started on changing the engine out in the track hoe. I've got just about everything off of it. The one that's going in, the Cummins, and if you haven't seen it, we've done a video on starting this up, first start. You can go back and look at that, but I'm going to go pick up the excavator and get it here, and then we're going to try to get started on getting the engine out of it, and then we'll get them sit down beside each other, and then first thing we're going to have to do, of course, is make our pump drive off the back of this engine. So whatever it takes. All right, we got her here and got it unchained and ready to put up under the shed. I'm going to back it under, but I need to put this toward the outside, so we're going to use the engine hoist. We need to get it up under the back of it. Just hope it don't blow up between now and there. It's squeaking. You can hear the main or the rod bearing. I think it's spun, so hopefully it don't lock down. See what happens. All right, we got her under here. Cleared up top, just there, which is good. I guess I should have turned it a little bit. Get the engine hoist in there between the tracks. The engine needed to be over this way just a little bit. We'll do that if we have to. We'll probably do that with skid steer loader. I can hear it squealing. It's going to lock. So I wanted to get it under here as quick as we could, and we'll start getting stuff off of it and tearing her down, and then get the engine out, start swapping stuff around. It looks like this is a 4-bolt, but it's on the top of the bell housing. We've got a 3-bolt also at the top of the bell housing, so this is going to make it pretty easy. We'll get it figured out. Shouldn't be too bad of a deal to get that figured out. So, all right, okay, folks, working away, tearing it apart. I know some folks think I was crazy for swapping out to a different brand engine, especially one that everything that's over here is actually over here on it, but it don't matter. I mean, if you don't use the exact same engine, and you got to adapt everything anyway, what's the difference as to where it's at? You know, if you got to adapt it, you got to adapt it. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so what I've run into. Here's one thing. Somebody has welded a plate on here for the throttle and for the shutoff, and the throttle's never worked worth a crap, and the throttle would have originally went right here, so this don't have the right one on it. So we're going to see what we can do about getting something that works right. That's just no fun there. So we'll probably not even use this cable at all. Plus it feels like it's stretched tight. That's why they didn't run it this way. And so we'll just get it off there. Matter of fact, to throttle it up, they was using I think a shovel or something. They was prying the throttle up on it. And the shutoff was working. It was working kind of hard, but we may probably put a new cable in it also. You know, it was squealing and knocking pretty hard when I was backing it up here. It wasn't going to make it any farther. If I'd have revved it up, it'd have blowed up. You know, went to crap. So I didn't want. I mean, I was trying to at least save the block. Crank shot. I do have a friend that has one that something happened to the air cleaner, sucked up a bunch of dirt, and crank's good in it. So there's enough parts probably to make one. But here is what the problem was with this. As you can see, that little oil spot right there. That's from sitting here for what, 45 minutes. And that is, I filled this thing up. It took a gallon to fill it up after it had sit. So what was happening was every time it sit, it was leaking all the oil out right around the drain plug. And then if somebody didn't check it before they started it, then it would automatically be started with no oil. And that's what happened. This thing sit for months and months, and then when it come time that it got started up, it didn't have any oil in it, and it went to knocking. So, which, you know, these are not, to me, not the best engines made anyway, so it's not a big issue. We got everything on the back side. We got the pump out. As you can see, it's just a, it might be an SAE 2 pattern, I'm not sure, but it don't matter. Whatever it is, we'll work with it. We've got a spline in there, and what we'll do, the way we'll do this is I've got to figure out how that, which I've seen it flex some, so it must be on like a flex plate. We're going to get that bolted up to the back of this flywheel. But what we'll do is make a plate that is just perfectly round with the holes in it to fit around here, and then put a center hole in it, turn it out on the lathe or on the milling machine for the pump to fit into, and then just add the holes. And I'm not sure of the thickness what we're going to do it out of. You know, whatever we use, we'll use, and we'll get that part done. I don't think anything else is going to be a big issue on it. You know, everything looking pretty easy and simple. And the pump, it's on hoses except for this side. It's on 2 steel lines, but the steel line goes into a flexible suction hose here. Now, I just pulled it out far enough. I didn't want to drain the system, so, you know, it'll still come out a little bit, but I don't want to drain it if I can keep from it. But if I have to in the long run, I will. But if I can make everything ready for the pump, we can set the engine in and slide the pump right back in the hole. So we've got front mounts, and I've seen that these look like they might be, mounts may be bad. So we may be replacing these with something different, or you know, we'll figure it out. The main thing is to get the engine out. So we're going to have it out tonight before it's over with. And that way we can get moving in the right direction on this and get her knocked out. Okay, folks, should be pulling this thing out here in about 20-30 minutes, something like that. But anyway, made a few observations here I just want to show you. One was the fan. You see blades missing part of the way. This, you can't run like this. The owner bought a new fan and put on here, and he said when he started it up, it hit something and broke it to pieces, so he had to put the old one back on it. We're going to go probably with a steel fan, and we're going to do something. I mean, it's, you know, even if we go plastic, you got to have all the blades on the fan. And you know, if you're missing part of it or part of them, you know, it's not right. So anyway, it's something we're going to take care of. I think all we've got is engine mounts, the fuel lines and fuel filter, and the 2 throttle and the cutoff. So that's really easy. And I think that's about it, and should be able to get it up out of here. We're going back with a GM alternator. I want to make this so something like this messes up, he can go to Advanced Auto and buy it. Alright folks, we got her out and got her hanging. So I was right about the motor mounts. These are fine on this end, but both of them were busted. And we will go back with a different style mount anyway. Probably use these for sure. Kind of like them, and they're in good shape. Well, I lied. Well, it looks like we're going to be working on this mount here too. So this thing didn't have but one good mount on it. I don't know. We can probably make something, come up with something for that. So anyway, everything come, you know, easy, no problem. A lot of space in there, easy to work on, not like that SSR. You know, my knuckles and hands are all cut up and everything from that SSR. My hands aren't made to fit in it. And we'll set them side by side so you can see what they look like when it comes to size and heights and widths and all that good stuff. If I can get this engine hoist around there. I'm not used to using an engine hoist. I usually use wreckers, forklifts, something like that. But a buddy of mine gave me this one, and it works really well, and it folds up so it's compact, and believe it or not, I handled that LS motor with no problem. And I think this engine here is probably at least as heavy as the cast iron one, LS, and you know, they didn't go lightweight with none of these diesels, but you can see it was leaking oil pretty bad on the inside, around the injector pump somewhere. Front seal maybe blowing out, I don't know. But yeah, it's had a long hard life, so it's time to retire it anyway. Alright folks, here we go, side by side. Pretty much same, just about the same dimensions. If I was to guess, I'd say that one might be a couple inches shorter, mainly because of the bell housing. You see how this one's made, and that one's shorter. Cylinder head's a little longer on that one than this one. So this one sits a little higher. As you can see, the pan makes it sit up higher, so we won't have any clearance issues. So it's going to work out really well. Now, chances are the width, I can already see from here to here, is going to be different than from there to there, which is fine because these mounts are 4-bolt and these are 3-bolt anyway, so we will remake mounts like these to bolt to here and to come, you know, to the right spread that we need for that. And that will bolt this end in, and then we're going to come up with some new mounts for the front side of some sort. We're not using these for sure. We've got a flat spot here and a flat spot there to work with, so it won't be an issue at all to come up with something. And this will probably take the mount off and come up with a bolt that'll go all the way up through, and put a couple of hockey pucks in it, and they should fit inside there, and we'll just hockey puck it. You know, being solid through it ain't going to be that big of an issue as long as there's some give for the vibration. That's all it's about, is trying to keep the vibration from running through the machine. So that's what we'll end up doing, and we may end up making mounts with hockey pucks up here. You never know. I don't have a problem with them. They're easy to get a hold of to replace. They're easy to machine and work with. Not a problem. So anyway, that's where we stand. I'm not going to post a video yet. I'm going to get started on pulling the back end down and see if what we can do about what we're going to end up having to do. I just want to see. I'm not going to jump into any machine work yet. I want to get it off. I want to see what it's going to take. I already know what it's going to take to mount the pump. That's not an issue. No problem whatsoever. What we need to do, and before we even attempt this, I know we got a long shaft on our pump, so we've probably got a little bit of room to play. But what we want to do is get a depth. I want to get a depth from the surface of this, where the pump mounts, to the surface of that plate in there. And I want to try to keep it just as close to what is here as we can get when we go over to this one. So we already know we're going to make a round plate with a hole in the center, make the hole the size of the pump, and then we can put our bolt holes. We'll probably, I may have some 1/2 inch plate. I know I've got some 3/4, which is probably heavier than what I want to use, but we will figure that out. But I can probably, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, but I definitely want to do it pretty heavy. 3/8. I don't know if 1/4, might go heavier in 1/4, I don't know. Anyway, we've got to figure out what mounts this plate to that flywheel. I know it's got something that's got some give in it. A lot of times if you got something solid like that, and a hydraulic pump, with it being a pump, and when it's turning, it will put vibrations through the crankshaft and actually beat your main bearings out. So you've got to have, you know, some sort of a movement, something that will absorb that vibration and that, you know, that force, and keep from tearing your bearings up. So let's get to pulling this cover off, starter and stuff, and see what we can figure out on, you know, what's going to take to put that center hub on that engine. All right, folks, there we go. Pretty easy. Looks like there's 3 socket head cap screws. They go in and hold this to the flywheel. So we can, there's a few ways we can do it. We can make a plate and do it, and it'll extend it out, or we can go in and drill and tap that flywheel in the right location, and then after we do that, we can space it out away from the bolts. So I can see they got it close to the bolts here, but we can space it out just to bring it away from the bolts. So either way, we're not going to have any issues. We're going to come up with something. And the only reason I'm worried about using a plate is because, well, it might not be a bad thing. You're just going to bring it out some, but it's probably going to bring it the same length anyway. We'll figure it out. Not going to be an issue. We'll go ahead and get this off, and then I'll go from there. And we'll call this a video, and we'll get started back on it tomorrow. All right, appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, bye.